So we set off for Scotland, our first major trip in over 2 years, and we were so excited. We were going to stay the first night in Moffat.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's horrible.
Yeah.
44 miles more before we get to Aberdeen. I think we're going into it actually, aren't we? It seems to be getting worse. There's one consolation, at least Blip's happy.
Yeah, it's
I think he's sweet.
actually lying down, isn't it?
He is. That's excellent news.
If you haven't seen a previous video, Blue had a terrible time on the back of a recovery truck for 2 hours and it really shook him up, so we're pleased he's settled.
It's 4 years since we came to Scotland.
Oh.
So after quite a few miles of motorway driving, we left and headed into Moffat to find our site for the night, the Green Frog. It was an interesting game this, watching the price of diesel as we drove up country. I think the most we saw it at was 193.9. We weren't going to pay that, that's for sure. One thing the sat-nav was useless at was where there was a surprise diversion, and we were to find out that not to trust her for lots of journeys during this tour.
Turn right onto Hull Street, then turn left.
Block your ears, folks, Blue's about to kick off.
Hold it. Oh, thank you.
In a quarter of a mile, turn right onto Jeff Brown Drive, then keep left.
This could be an journey.
Turn right at the traffic light, then keep left.
Green Frog, yeah, that's it. Jeff Brown Drive.
Oh, right.
I wonder who Jeff Brown was.
Oh. That's big, isn't it?
Mm.
I thought it was one of the small ones.
No, this is a big one, this one. I think. It's huge, isn't it? I'm assuming you just go straight ahead, don't you, is it? Yeah, straight ahead. Yeah.
Oh, got a coffee shop.
Yeah, it's got everything. Got a coffee shop, garden centre, caravans and check-in and cafe. Guess you just need
check-in
to
and cafe.
park here somewhere, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Over there. Shall we
Maybe
go?
that's it, actually.
No. I don't know.
There we go. We reached our destination. I believe we have.
She hasn't said.
No.
So we soon got settled, sorted ourselves out, put up the sun canopy, put up the window blinds, and we felt at home, even amongst all the big white boxes. We even managed to get out a chair, a rare occurrence it was going to be on this trip. Right, so we're going to see if we're going to have pancake burgers or burgers, because we're not quite sure. They were big vacuum packed so tightly. What's going to happen? They're going to go up like a duvet. I guess not. Oops. Maybe that's a fail.
I think it's because we froze them. They're still frozen, I think.
Oh, they're not. Did we freeze them? Don't think we did.
Yes.
Oh dear.
We'll get them in the ridge monkey as they are. And
Oh yeah, they might puff up when we walk. When they get some heat in them. I mean, we all know things shrivel up when they're cold.
well, no, that doesn't work.
Right, yeah. So that's one that hasn't worked. Let's hope the rest of them
Well,
are
we
okay.
wasn't expecting it to be fair.
No, we were pushing it a bit with these, weren't we? Oh dear. So we sat back in the chairs and watched the lambs frolicking. I can't say that word. Frolicking in the fields, eating our flat burgers. It was so peaceful and enjoyable. This was our first night stopover. The Green Frog in Moffat. £16 a night if you want electrics and a wider pitch for an awning. If you don't want an awning, it's £15 a night with electrics. Super quiet. Loved it. It's always good to have a first night on a site, especially if you're out of practice a little bit with being in a trip and being in Little Buddy as well, because obviously being a confined space you forget how you do things. But it was a good night. This is the toilet block, open 24/7. There's two separate like little bathrooms, two in each one, and I have to say I'm very impressed. Everything you could possibly need. It's like an individual bathroom. Very clean. Definitely come back here again. Good for a stopover and maybe even a few nights. We honestly couldn't tell you what our fascination is with graveyards, but it doesn't matter where we go, we always seem to end up looking into one. They're all the same colour.
Yeah, that's what. First thing I noticed when I looked in. How many dates on them?
I think it's 1818.
1836. Died in 1856.
How old?
7.
7.
Died in 1856. That's exactly 100 years. So the 7-year-old died the year I was born. Sorry, 100 years before. Exactly.
It's curious to see what this big one is.
It's not Moffat himself, is it? See who the title was.
James M. George. Unfortunately perished at the age of 47 near Tweed Shores after the most strenuous exertions in the performance of his duty during that memorable snowstorm of 1st of February 1831. Wow. That's massive. I don't think I've ever seen a gravestone so big. John Pagan was a cattle salesman and his friends in the town erected this gravestone in his honour. Apparently it's supposed to be the widest high street in Scotland. Oh, you want to have a look in here, Bernie, don't you?
Yeah, I thought I'd pop in.
Yeah. Bernie's looking for a new end for his lecky stick. We'll try in here. Moffat was a bustling little town. I don't know if it had something to do with the fact that it was actually polling day, or maybe it's always this busy. Amazing. Yeah, I guess so. raining again. We had a quick browse around the shops and then decided it was time to find somewhere to eat. Not an easy task when you've got a dog in tow. And if we could find one where we could actually take Blue inside and eat in the warm and out of the rain, that would be a bonus. And we did indeed find one. So what have you got?
Smoked chicken and bacon sandwich. Looks like some coleslaw.
Yeah, you've got
salad,
crisps and wow.
Tortillas.
You're going to enjoy that, aren't you?
Hopefully, yeah.
And I've got a nice chunky soup with some lovely bread.
If I can get some of the.
You've got some bacon, Blue. You've got bacon. Yum. Yummy. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? The cherry blossom at this time of year is just beautiful, and these trees were no exception in St. Peter's Church just down the high street in Moffat. Now I've left this next section in as a bit of a lesson, a learning curve to you guys out there. Always remember when your camera is turned either on or off. I'll be back in a minute. And I think I'll cut it there. So after some flat burgers and a very peaceful night, we set off to go and check out where we were going to stay this evening at the Grey Mare's Tail Nature Reserve, just 10 miles up the glen. So we arrived at the Grey Mare's Tail parking area and settled in for the evening. Bernie's got the binoculars out.
Down.
What, the little lamb?
Yeah, it's following Mummy.
Yeah, we were a bit worried about it, weren't we?
Yeah. There is one up there that's definitely not.
Yeah, it's a bit steep for him to be falling, isn't it? So there was finally a gap in the weather, so we decided that we'd have a walk up to see how far we could get, to see how close we could get to the actual waterfall. Now we saw this lamb on the path, and I was really worried. That slope is really steep, and I didn't want it to panic when it saw blue and run the wrong way. Fortunately it did, it ran up towards its mum, so all was well that ends well. Unfortunately this was as close as we could get to the actual fall. A few years ago there was a terrible accident and somebody unfortunately died, so I think they're taking extra precautions now and have fenced off the path to prevent any further accidents from happening. It's still pretty spectacular from here. What we didn't know at this point was that we were to return to the Grey Mare's Tail, and we were to hike to the top and see it from a totally different point of view. The view on the way back down into the valley, or the glen, since we're in Scotland, was just as spectacular. And honestly, this path's pretty precarious. Looking at the path. Are you looking at the path?
Yeah. Hello.
It's gone blue. It's
Where's
gone.
she gone?
I think blue's zonked. Go to sleep, go to sleep. So this is the sweet and sour chicken that I vacuum packed, and I had it nice and flat so it went in the fridge. Just squidged it down a bit. I'm going to fold it and drop it into this pan, which I'll fill with some hot water when the kettle's boiled, because I googled it and I found out that you can actually reheat food in these bags. So if this works, not only has it kept it nice and fresh, but we don't have a dirty pan, so it's a win-win. So we'll see how it goes. Here we go. I decided, because it was chicken, to do it for a good 12 minutes. Whether that was necessary or not, I don't know. And going back to the washing up and saying there wouldn't be any, I totally forgot there is going to be these 2 bowls. But that's a lot easier to do than a couple of pans as well. So let's enjoy. Bon appetit. So did anybody spot the deliberate mistake? Having been so distracted with that new method of cooking, I completely forgot the rice. So that was an amazing path, but wasn't it quiet?
Yeah, actually.
Extremely dark.
We did get some dry areas, but unfortunately.
It was dry overnight though, I think, wasn't it?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm watching them going up that path there. Oh no, they're coming down.
Have they given up?
I don't know which couple that is. That might be the first ones that went to.
So now we're going to drive a bit today because the weather's really bad. So the next place apparently will be Selkirk. So we'll head to Selkirk. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe button and join us next time on the next stage of our Scottish journey.